Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the fact that I have decided to attend the 2024 IPSF World Pole and Aerial Sport Championships. And this is a very exciting thing for me because this is the first time that I will be attending the World Championships not competing in the parapole division. So for those of you that have watched my channel for a little while, you might know that in 2016, I suffered a spinal cord injury. I broke my neck, and as a result of that, I have incomplete quadriplegia. I've recovered pretty well. I'm able to walk, but I still suffer with quite severe muscle weakness, especially on my right hand side. And then there's just a couple things that are like more difficult for me because of this spinal cord injury. So because of that, usually whenever I compete in an IPSF competition, since 2019, I have competed in the parapole division, specifically PPM 1, which is for those with reduced muscle power but are able to walk. So that's essentially what I have. However, I don't always only compete in the parapole division. In 2018, actually, when I did my first IPSF competition, I competed in just the normal artistic pole division at, I believe I did amateur level, so it wasn't elite level or anything like that. And then last year, I wanted to do aerial hoop as well. So in addition to competing in the parapole pole division, I did aerial hoop, and I did that in the professional division, so one below the elite level that qualifies you to go to Worlds. But this year, I kind of decided that I was going to take a break from competing internationally, or at least that's what I thought when I signed up for the nationals. So I thought, I don't want to completely miss out on competing for an entire year, but I'm definitely not going to do parapole. I did put up a bit of an Instagram post kind of explaining the fact that I just feel like I'm ready to move on from the parapole division. I feel like I've achieved a lot in that division. I've won the division, I've broken the world record. There's nothing much left for me to achieve in that division. And I honestly feel like I would be overstaying my time there in the parapole division were I to continue competing there. So I've decided that I'm not going to compete in the parapole division anymore, that I'm going to move on for that, and that I want to challenge myself with some new things. But I had no intentions of competing internationally this year, so I decided that I was going to enter the flying pole artistic division. My coach helped me come up with a really great concept for the national competition, and I liked the concept, and I was like, you know what, I'll just compete this at flying pole artistic and it'll be fun. Initially, I wasn't even going to enter the division that would allow me to qualify for Worlds. I was just going to enter the one below because I am going to be competing, or I did compete against able-bodied people, so I was like, you know what, I don't want to put extra pressure on myself. But my coach was like, no, there's probably not going to be a lot of people in the division anyway. You have a lot of competition experience. You've been to Worlds several times. And this is an artistic competition. There's no reason why you shouldn't enter the highest level of the competition, which in artistic is the professional division. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll enter the professional division. But I had no expectations of doing well, of placing, of anything like that. I was just like, okay, I'm going to enter the competition and I'm just gonna do it at nationals just so that I don't miss out on a full year of competing. I was thinking that I'll probably next year maybe try and see about going to Worlds again, or maybe even not. I wasn't even sure what the future was gonna hold with that, but I was like, I don't want to just not compete at all. Let me just do nationals. No expectations, kind of no goals going in terms of qualifying or anything like that. And then it turned out that I was the only one in my age category. So there were other people doing flying pole, but the flying pole artistic was split into 18 plus and 30 plus, and I was the only one in the 18 plus division. So that meant that I had an automatic qualification to Worlds. So when the running order was announced, I knew that I'm the only one in South Africa competing in professional 18 plus. I have qualified for Worlds. And when I saw that, I was like, well, I mean, I guess that's cool. It wasn't cool. I was kind of disappointed because I was like, oh, I usually in South Africa never get to compete against anyone because there's no one else doing parapole in South Africa. I only get competition when I get to Worlds. So I was like, oh, this will be great. I'm not competing in the parapole division. There'll probably be more people. Hopefully some other people will be doing flying pole and I'll be able to actually compete against other people. And then I was by myself in the category again. So I was like a little bit annoyed about that. We need to get more people doing flying pole in South Africa. But even though I'd automatically qualified, I was like, I'm not gonna go to Worlds. Like, I don't think I'm at that level. I don't think it's going to be worthwhile for me. I've got a pretty busy year anyway, so I'll just do nationals like I plan to. This doesn't really change anything. And then we had our national competition. That was at the beginning of May, so like a month and a half ago now. And I competed and I did my routine and I got a really good score. So my score was, I think, around 65. Yeah, 65.3 or something like that. And that was way higher than I was expecting. And that also included, on my score sheet, I got 9 points worth of deductions. So if I hadn't got those 9 points worth of deductions, my score would have been even higher. And those deductions, I am kind of assuming, but I believe that it is mostly just from costume and prop issues. I had like a couple of things go wrong with my costume on the day, because it was like quite a complicated concept and execution of it. So with those 9 points of deductions, I still got a really good score. And now rankings have come out for the countries that have had their nationals so far. I am currently, there's still about 9 countries to go that still have to have their nationals at the time of filming this. So this is not like a definitive, like, where I'm ranked overall, and like I can't like count too heavily on this, but I'm currently number 2 in the world for flying pole artistic, which is like insane to me. So after getting that score, after kind of seeing how my score compared to what people did at last year's flying pole artistic division at Worlds, seeing how it compares to the people that have competed already at their nationals this year, and after just a little bit of convincing from my coach and my mom, who both really wanted me to go to Worlds, and my coach in particular was saying that it would be like a really nice opportunity to just showcase this routine, because it is a routine and a concept that like I really love. So I've decided that I'm going to go to Worlds. So after saying that I was not going to go to Worlds, definitely not, I was going to take a break, this was going to be my year off, I'm going to Worlds again. And I'm glad. I knew, even when I like had kind of decided last year after Worlds that I wasn't going to go again this year, and definitely not for the parapole, I knew I was going to have FOMO. I knew I was going to like be watching all the stories and like being sad that I was at home. And so I'm pretty glad that I'm going. I also am this year going with my boyfriend. So he has booked his ticket to Sweden to come with me. So we're going to go together, which is like kind of what actually sealed the deal for me, that like, okay, like I'm definitely going to go, because it's just really nice that we get to do it together, and we also get to travel a bit and see Sweden together. So I'm really excited for that. But yeah, long story short, I've decided to go to Worlds this year. So this video is actually going to be a little bit of a part 1 video. I'm going to make try to make regular videos throughout my training between now and when we actually get to Worlds in October. So Worlds this year is in October, towards the end of October in Sweden. It is currently towards the end of June. What's the exact date? It is the 24th of June. We had our South African nationals at the beginning of May. I think it was like the 4th and 5th of May. I received my invitation to Worlds about a week ago now, and I'm going to be doing my entry for that today. So that's where we're at in terms of timeline. We've got a couple of months to go, and it seems like saying October seems quite far away, but I just know this time is going to go by so quickly. I'm really kind of starting my serious training now at this point in time, which is why I also wanted to make this video now. I was like, I'm submitting my entry today. I'm really getting into my serious training kind of in end of last week and to this beginning of this week. It's a Monday today, so I felt like it's the perfect time to make this part 1 video to discuss just this whole part of the process. I haven't not been training at all. Like, I've been doing bits and pieces here and there. So I've been on the flying pole a couple of times trying to figure out what I might want to change for my routine, what I'm going to keep the same, trying out some new moves. It's been going well, kind of. So I haven't been like not doing anything, but I haven't been at the intensity of training that I would like to be for like training for a World Championships. And especially knowing kind of where I stand in the rankings and the fact that like I actually have a very competitive score coming out of nationals, I really want to make sure that my training is at the level that it needs to be to give myself the best chance of doing as well as possible at Worlds. Like, I don't want to waste this opportunity. It is a huge privilege to qualify for Worlds, to be able to attend Worlds, and I don't want to make light of that. So I really want to take my training very, very seriously. It's taken me a little while to get into it. I got sick right after nationals and was sick for a couple of weeks, and like, I recently started a new day job because unfortunately I don't get to just pole full time, so it's been like a little bit of a transition period for me. Things have been a little bit chaotic and all over the place, but I finally am kind of getting back into a little bit of a routine with my training schedule. Speaking of that, my coach and I sat down on Friday a couple days ago to actually just go through what my plan is and what my training schedule is. So I've divided it into like 6-week blocks of like the first 6 weeks, second 6 weeks, last 6 weeks before we then travel to Worlds. So at the moment, let's just go over that training schedule. This is going to take me all the way up until the beginning of August. And my main focus for this period is not on running the routine or anything like that. We're not at that stage, but just conditioning, training the new moves, that kind of like upgrades that I want to put into the routine. I've got some like target moves that I need to be training pretty much every flying pole session, finalizing that choreography, making sure that I'm actually gonna be able to achieve those moves if I put them in, and then making sure that my stamina, my conditioning, and my endurance is up to the level that it needs to be. So with that in mind, my training schedule for this first period of training is going to look like doing treadmill sessions twice per week. So every Monday and Friday, I need to try get on the treadmill and do my little walk. I don't do anything intense, like I'm not running or doing hip training or anything like that. It's mostly trying to get to that like zone 2, just walking for endurance. I do that for about like 20 minutes to half an hour, depending on the day and my mood and how I'm feeling. But that's just like a kind of supplement on top of the main bulk of my training, which is my conditioning stuff. So I do a pull and abs workout once a week. I do a push and a legs workout once a week, and this is being specifically designed with my coach to really kind of target my weak areas that I need to improve on, and also to be like supplemental to the sorts of moves that I'm putting in my routine and the pole training that I am doing. In addition to that, lots of stretching. So I teach stretch classes at my pole studio, Elevate Fitness. And when I teach those stretch classes, I always do stretch alongside my students as well. So that's like a great way to double up. I'm like working, but also stretching at the same time, which is really nice for me. But then in addition to those stretch classes that I'm teaching, I also try do a stretch class at my coach's studio. Hopefully, ideally once a week, I do that, time depending, and like if my schedule allows. And then I also do my own individual stretching. I do one upper body session stretching once a week, and then one lower body stretching session once a week, in addition to my morning and evening mobility routines, which is not like full on stretching, but is just for like general mobility and so that I don't get super stiff. Then I've got my actual flying pole, aerial pole training sessions. So that happens every Wednesday and every Saturday at the moment. So at the moment in those sessions, I'm just training those new moves, doing a bit of conditioning for those, working on like individual sections of choreography and seeing how those might work with the music, with any new changes that I'm making. And then also on those days, on a Wednesday and a Saturday, I do aerial specific conditioning. So on a Saturday, I join our whole group of athletes that my coach is coaching, and herself included in that are going to Worlds, and we do pole conditioning at her studio, which involves a kind of combination of pole specific conditioning and then floor conditioning and cardio, and it's like a whole like intense conditioning workout. And then I also repeat part of that on a Wednesday after I've done my own individual aerial training. So that's kind of what the training schedule looks like at the moment. In addition to that, I am still trying to attend some pole classes just to keep up like my general pole fitness and like not miss out on learning new stuff and going to classes, because I still really enjoy going to classes. And yeah, that is pretty much it for the training schedule, at least for the next 6 weeks. I will be revising this training schedule after those 6 weeks. So at the beginning of August, I'll probably sit with my coach again and we'll go through, make sure all of this is still working, make sure I'm getting stronger, and then if we need to make some changes, and then as we move into the next phase of training. But for now, that is what it looks like. Let me know if you want, like I've done before, like a week of workouts of what my like week looks like in terms of training and conditioning for World. So I might do another video like that to kind of go along with this whole video series. So let me know in the comments if that's something that you would be interested in. But yeah, so that is the plan for the next 6 weeks. I'm really starting to feel excited about this. I'm excited to kind of get stronger and build my strength. When I got sick right after nationals, I feel like I lost a lot of strength and endurance. Like you train so much and you work up and build up so much like strength and endurance for the competition, and then like I always find that my immune system like does take a bit of a hit after that like adrenaline spike and drop that comes with competing. So yeah, getting sick was not ideal. I feel like it really hit me quite hard. It took me a long time to kind of get over that, but I'm starting to finally feel like strong again and like excited and ready for it. Having a good schedule like this also helps me because I like having a very structured plan. Like I have literally this whole document. This is like my laptop. It's a whole document in Notion that's got like my calendar, my training schedule, like for the next 3-4 months basically, and everything that I need to know for my training. So having that all like laid out and organized really helps me personally. Like I said, I am quite excited, really excited about going to Worlds, but it's going to be a very different experience this time because this is the first time that I'm going to Worlds not competing in the parapole division. This is the first time where I've got like more than just a handful of people in my division. So this division is nowhere near as packed as like some of the more popular like 18 plus 30 plus pole sports divisions, or even like artistic pole. Flying pole is a newer introduction to the quota points and to the IPSF World Champs. So it is a slightly smaller division, as can be seen by the fact that I was the only one in my age category at nationals, but it's going to be more competition than I've ever been used to at a world championship level. And also it's going to be competing against fully able-bodied people. So that's going to be a little bit different for me. I have actually at other competitions, local competitions, competed in like non-para divisions, and even at nationals last year I did hoop in a non-para division. So it's not something I'm completely like foreign to me or like out of my depth with, but it is definitely something different and something to consider. And I have to be really strategic with the way that I play to my strengths, because I do have certain strengths and weaknesses as a result of my injury and especially the muscle weakness. So really making sure I'm playing to those strengths and putting together a routine that is my best is going to be really important. And I am really going to need to focus on like not necessarily comparing myself to other people. I actually the other day saw a clip of someone's nationals routine for artistic aerial pole, and like the level of tricks that some people are able to put into their routines is just insane. And unfortunately, I am just not at that level in terms of like the very, very high technical ability for tricks. And a lot of that is due to my unique limitations. But the nice thing about an artistic division is that it is largely about the storytelling. And I'm not going to spoil my concept, but I feel like it's a really good concept, and it's a concept that plays to my artistic strength in that I feel like I'm able to tell the story and convey it really, really well. So I'm really excited for that aspect of it. I've got some really like unique things happening in terms of costume and props. So I really need to make sure that that is all working and that I don't get any of those deductions that I got at nationals. But if everything comes together like I am envisioning it, I think it's going to be a really special routine. And regardless of what happens in terms of the outcome, I think that I'm going to be able to put something together that I am very proud of. Going in, like I said, although I am ranked second in the world currently, I honestly have no expectations of any sort of placement. And I feel like I need to keep myself like really grounded and really realistic of the fact that I can't be expecting any particular outcome or hoping for any particular outcome, which is something new for me as well, because usually when I compete at Worlds, it's in Parapole, which is the sports division, which the scoring is a lot more black and white, if you can put it that way, where you know exactly what you need to do to achieve a certain score, and there's very kind of few parts of the score that are open for interpretation. I know that if I achieve my compulsories, I get X score. If I do this tech bonus, I get X number of points, which makes it very clear cut, and it makes it very easy to set a goal like I would like to improve my score by 5 points, which is how I've always approached it in the past. Is like going to a pole sports competition, I've gone in with a certain score at nationals and I've said, okay, these are the changes that I'm making, this is how much I would like to improve my score by. With artistic, it's so much more subjective just by the nature of it being an artistic competition. So it's very hard to go in and say that, oh, I would like to improve my score by 5 points or 10 points or however many points. So I don't really want to set any sort of expectation for myself in terms of what score or what placement that I'm going to achieve at Worlds. This is a completely new experience for me in terms of competing in a non-para division, so I feel like I just need to take it as it comes. Like this is the experience, it's about the experience, it's about the opportunity, it's about doing my best that I can on the day, not necessarily about the score and the outcome. If it is a good score, if it is a good outcome, that's a bonus at the end of the day. I would like to make sure that I don't get any silly 9-point deductions for like costume and prop, because that is something that is within my control. So that is the one thing that I would like to eliminate those deductions as far as possible and make sure that that's not happening. And other than that, really my goals for doing Worlds this year is just to have this new experience, to improve my strength, to improve my artistic storytelling, to improve my endurance as well, and just have a bit of fun with it as well, to be able to like compete in a division that's like there's a little bit more people, it's a little bit more competitive, and it's something new and something different for me. So I'm excited for that. It's hard. I am a very competitive person, so keeping my expectations like low or non-existent is something that I'm going to have to work on this year, but I'm excited for the journey and I'm excited for the challenge of it. Like I said, I am almost definitely going to be making this into a series. I'm not sure exactly how the series is going to look, but it's going to be my Training for Worlds series. I'm thinking I'm probably at minimum going to be doing updates at the end of every kind of training phase. So my next update will probably be in 6 weeks to talk about just a little bit of how the first 6 weeks of training has looked like, and then I'll do the 6 weeks after that. And then of course I will be vlogging and documenting the entire experience as I always do when I do go to Worlds, but I'm going to be trying to be a little bit more consistent about documenting the like build up process for this time. So if you do have any special requests of things that you would like to see about like documenting this whole training process, questions, comments that you have, anything that you're curious about, please do leave it in the comments, give me your suggestions, anything you do want to know a little bit more about, and I will be happy to try and make as many videos as possible to kind of go over all the different aspects of training. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you did make it all the way to the end, really appreciate it. If you do want to stay updated on the journey of how I get to Worlds, please do subscribe to the channel, and then also follow me on Instagram, because I post a lot more in like real time on Instagram. Also like TikTok as well, I do post quite a bit of my like pole stuff and just like more general like off the cuff thoughts on certain things there. So follow me on mainly Instagram, also TikTok, if you do want to keep updated on the like step-by-step of the journey as well. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.